but to me, Holmgren he's certainly the most fascinating prospect in this draft. And I feel like if Holmgren weighed 220, then there would be no question.
He'd be the number one pick for sure. No question.
And honestly, he probably would be the number one pick if somebody else got it. As far as like Banchero versus Holmgren, my sense was the Rockets, they need to make that determination just in case, but I did not get the feeling that they had when I went through there last week. But Holmgren, he's so fast. And you mentioned Al Horford. I think that's an interesting comp. This one, you're really going to have to put physiques aside, but an interesting comp that I've heard for him is another guy who's in those finals, and that's Draymond Green. Now, obviously, you're talking about a skinny 7'2" guy, or rail thin 7'2" guy versus a pretty stocky 6'6" or whatever Draymond is. But the executive I was talking to came up with this comp. He said the one question aside from physique, and that leads to durability, you don't know. But the one question about Holmgren is, will he ever be a primary scorer? Is he going to be a guy who is going to be able to get you 20 plus points per game, that you're going to be able to run offense, do so on and so forth? And so that they didn't know, but they said, look, this guy is going to be able to impact games as a dominant defensive presence with, both obviously a freakish wingspan, intelligence, instincts, toughness. Despite his frame, nobody ever questions his toughness. And then offensively, they felt like his intelligence, his instincts, his passing ability, in the same way that Draymond, when things are going well, is able to impact games that way. So again, completely different physiques, but they felt like kind of the floor for this guy would be that sort of at least an extremely high level role player. And then I talked to somebody in Holmgren's camp who said, well, I like that comp, but we also think he's got some Brandon Ingram in terms of they do think he'll have the ability. Yeah, they do think he'll have the ability to put the ball on the floor and create. The Draymond comp, when I've kind of put that to other people, they're like, okay, I can, folks can see that. The Ingram one, I've not been met with as much optimism on.
Yeah, I think to your point, the question I would have with him, it goes back to whether he's going to be a guy that can score 25 a game, right? Which is why, to me, guys like Horford and Draymond are sort of how I look at with him, where he's probably not going to do that, but he's going to do so many other things to impact winning. And to your point about Jaden Ivey, the one thing people should remember with the Thunder, last year they had the 6th pick. They took Josh Giddey, the Australian guard, and the Warriors were really interested in Josh Giddey by all accounts. They had a ton of people to see him. I'm pretty sure at the game you're at, Brian, in Las Vegas, and a lot of people thought he was going 7. And nobody knew what the Thunder were going to do. And people sort of thought they might take Jonathan Kuminga, and they ended up taking Josh Giddey with that pick. So, there's certainly, when it comes to Oklahoma City, they don't let information get out. There's going to be a lot of guesswork on what they decide to do. But I think when you look at just the overall toolbox that Holmgren has and what they're doing in terms of shooting for upside, he's got the highest upside.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.